Hey everyone, this is my review for the Alchemy equipment AEL222. So I had to pause my review due to the cold weather here in the Midwest, which changes my daily commute from riding my bike to falling asleep on the train. So I apologize for this taking much longer, but I actually wanted to get back to my normal, more stress heavy for the bag commute than just simply riding on the train. Okay, so I've used this bag for my riding commutes for almost 2 months now, and I have a pretty good feel for it, and I'm confident enough to give my verdict. So the first thing I'm going to do is walk through my loadout. If you don't care about this piece, feel free to skip to this timestamp to get back to the review. Okay, so let's go through the loadout. So I have this bag packed to capacity. This is an exaggeration of what I would normally carry, but this will give you a full idea of everything that this bag can hold. And hopefully with everything that I have packed in here, it'll give you a pretty good idea of what you can pack into it. This is similar to something I would carry during the summertime because I carry a full change of clothes, shoes, belts, all that stuff. Here's the bag fully loaded. It's a pretty narrow but very tall bag, and it makes for packing pretty easy because you can just stuff some stuff to the bottom, and at the top you usually have a little bit more room to just throw that one extra thing. So in the side access pocket, there's a water bottle. And it's got a second side access pocket. Here I can store my Leatherman, keys, and a wallet, no problem. This is laid out perfectly when you swing it over to your side. Very convenient and easy pocket to get to. All right, let's get into the main compartment. All right. So it's got like a half clamshell opening here. So there is my shirt, pants, my shoes. Now these are dress shoes, so they take up a lot more space than just regular flat gym shoes. So this is actually, it requires a lot more space, so it's impressive that these can fit in here. And then I have my 10 keyless keyboard. This is my backup keyboard. My usual one is in the office still. So I get some slack for carrying a large keyboard, but those of us who tried mechanical keyboards, you can't really go back to not using them once you start getting used to them. So there's my belt, my laptop charging cable, standard, nothing too crazy. And at the very bottom, I have my Mission Workshop tool roll. This I would carry every time that I ride. When I'm not riding, I take this out of the bag. So that's everything in the main compartment. Actually, there's one more pocket at the top here. I carry my Arc mouse from Microsoft. This runs on AAA batteries. This mouse is amazing. Very discreet, takes up hardly no space at all. You can kind of ignore and forget that it's there. So let's get into these front pockets. It's got two of them. The bottom one can store, this is where I keep my Peak Design field pouch. This is one of the best pouches that I've owned. It's great. It's got a lot of organization. It's very small and slim. And it's large enough to hold this moleskin style kind of notebook. So it can hold both of those things without taking up any space from the main volume of the bag. So at the very top, there's another throw pocket. These are all throw pockets, by the way. So in here, my everyday carry items. There's my RHA headphones, tissues and body wipes, antibacterial stuff, some gum, my RHA wireless, no, my Jaybirds, sorry, and my iPhone charger, and then it's got a little key hook thingy. So there's a lot of stuff I can throw in there, and like I said, none of that steals space from the main volume. Let's get to the laptop compartment. It's got a little drawstring or ejection system. It's got the little pull tab. So there is my laptop. That's a 15-inch standard issue work laptop. You can see how much space that takes up. It might fit a larger laptop even because it's got a little bit more room at the top. But yeah, that's basically everything I can carry into the bag. Yeah, pretty impressive. Okay, so let's get to the organization. The front of the bag is used up by these two very large and very amazing throw pockets. It's amazing because whether they're fully packed or completely empty, they're not going to steal space from the main volume of the bag. This is a make or break feature in bags for me, as I've gained more experience with bags, and I've tried to understand why some bags are much easier to use than others. I found that fighting with a bag to get your stuff, like over time, it's going to degrade the experience with your bag significantly. When you can just use pockets without having to think about how it's affecting other parts of the bag, it's really an amazing jump in the quality of life with your experience of the bag. So the top pocket only has this one key hook thing, but that's it. The pockets are designed to be discreet and water resistant with the way this fabric is folded over. This is both good and bad. The good is that it feels really well guarded from the elements. The bad is that it makes opening and closing the zippers a bigger hassle than it needs to be. There are two side pockets. The one side has a somewhat expandable water bottle pocket, which didn't quite hold my water bottle snugly enough. There was a bit of wobble when I put my bottle in there. But if I left the zipper shut, it fit really tight, but the bottle would push into the volume of the bag, which is something I don't like to do. And the other pocket is an amazingly convenient quick access pocket, which is placed perfectly when you swing the bag around to your side. It can fit my Leatherman, keys, and my wallet with no problem. Okay, so on the inside of the bag, you have one additional polyurethane mesh pocket that's water resistant. It's up high and outside of the crutch zone, and it's pretty convenient to access when you can just open the top of the bag slightly. Usually I'm not a fan of plastic pockets, but this one feels great. It's not like crinkly, it doesn't feel cheap, like the ones in the Life Behind Bars bags do, the Peloton Asphalt, for example. I really dig their bags, but those plastic pockets are awful. There is a laptop compartment that can be accessed from the top of the bag. It is suspended, so you don't have to worry about any damage if you slam the bag on the ground. It can hold up to a 15-inch laptop, and it has this ejection system that I think is borrowed from my favorite bag, the North Face Access 22-liter backpack. Unfortunately, none of these pockets have any organization. They're all throw pockets. But to be honest, coming from like a hyper-organized state of mind, I'm the kind of guy that needs to have a place for every item. It was a bit of a relief to just throw things into these pockets and let them be. It made fishing for things much quicker, and I didn't have to spend like minutes reorganizing all of my stuff when I packed up to go home at the end of the workday. So it's much faster to just pack and go when you have these throw pockets. And you know, I've grown to not mind throw pockets so much anymore, so long as they have their own volume. That's the crucial point here. So I'm giving organization a 7 here. It's a little bit above average because even though there isn't enough organization in these pockets, there are enough of them that you'll find a place for all your stuff. One nice little bonus, as you can tell here, the way these front pockets are folded with the fabric, I can slide my bike light down here. It's actually been pretty secure. I was worried that during my rides it would slip off and fall off and I wouldn't notice, but it's actually quite snug on there. So that actually worked out really well. But it's not designed for that, obviously, but just a small little bonus. And my U-lock does fit in the water bottle pocket. If I unzip it just a little bit, it fits in there nice and snug. Okay, so let's talk materials. All the externals, we have a cotton nylon Cordura blend, which is a very stealthy camo pattern that only comes through when the light hits it just right. It feels great and it looks really, really nice. I'm a big fan of it. The site claims that this is weatherproof, but I didn't get a chance to ride with it in the rain. And honestly, I may have avoided it since it's still pretty cold out, and I'm not trying to get sick riding in the cold rain. But I can tell that it's designed well enough to keep your stuff from getting soaked. What I would have liked to test is whether or not it retains moisture, but like I said, I didn't get to that point, so I can't really speak to that. It's finished with a multi-coating of polyurethane. It's water-resistant, top-grain leather. There's leather accents throughout. And we have number 8 YKK AquaGuard zippers throughout the entire bag. So there are leather accents, like I said, throughout the bag. The very flimsy handle at the top has it. The zippers are protected with a bit of leather. And for some damn reason, they decided to place this luxurious fabric at the bottom of the bag. There is not a single piece of plastic in use here, and that was immediately evident when I was moving around the bag. Everything feels quality, and the bag itself has a good heft to it. The harness is EVA molded. I had no issues with the straps. Everything felt very comfortable. There is a waist belt that you can remove, and it is a terrible pain in the ass to put it away, which is why I'm not going to take it out. I never had the need to use it, so I'm not going to really talk about it, but just know that it's there if that's your jam. As far as airflow and all that junk, you just need to know that it's comfortable and you're going to sweat. No amount of hyper-cooled injected space fabric is going to keep your back from sweating. It's going to happen, so you got to deal with it. There are load lifters, which are a little annoying to use, but I'll get to that later. And the removable sternum strap, which is also very annoying to adjust. The interior is a super bright and amazing looking embossed polyester with acrylic coating. I love these high contrast interiors, both for the look of it, and it makes finding things a breeze. Black interior bags should not exist. So as nice as the interior looks, it doesn't feel as good as the interior of the Toomey bags, which is the bar by which I rank all interior materials. Toomey just has something. Their interiors feel plush, they feel good, and they look amazing. So that is the bar right now. That's like a 10 for me as far as interior materials go. So it's for that reason alone that I'm giving the interior a 9 out of 10. It missed that perfect 10 just on the interior materials alone. So it was so damn close. Nice job, Alchemy. Okay, so let's talk about the build now. So this is kind of where I found myself glad that I'm rating materials and builds separately, because this bag is a perfect example of how using amazing materials can still hold back the build of a bag. Just a little bit. So let's start at the very top with the handle. Very simply, it's terrible. It's using this really amazing leather, but this thing is super flimsy feeling. It reminds me of when I go and pick up my garbage bag, you know, those little drawstrings that are super thin, and it feels like it can barely hold the weight. That's kind of what I'm reminded of using this bag. It's not that cheap, you know, I'm not saying it's cheap. It's just not built right. It doesn't feel good at all. Especially when the bag is fully packed out. It never gave me the confidence that a main handle should give you. It's really bad. So moving on to the laptop compartment, despite having this awesome ejection system, there's a Velcro seam in here that keeps catching the laptop when I'm trying to pull it. So I found myself avoiding it, just because I found that it always required additional work to get out. So I don't know what's with this seam. I don't want to undo it here because it took me a few tries to get it as flat as possible, but it still bunches in places, and that's where the laptop gets caught. Inside of this, there's like this plastic insert. I'm guessing it's to help the bag stay rigid, but I don't really get it though, and it's really, really annoying. So let's get to these load lifters. So they work as intended. When you actually put it on and you're able to cinch them down, they work well. But they're just a pain in the ass to reach when you actually wear the bag. So in the morning, when I put the bag down, throughout the day, these kind of reset to their default position, so it loosens up 100%. And then at the end of the day, when I put the bag on, I'm not thinking about what happened to the load lifters. So I find myself looking like a fool trying to feel around for where those pulls are. So that's another thing I just don't end up using just because I have to think about it way too much. It's got these little catches, but like I said, throughout the day, it just resets, so it slides right out of those little catches on the straps here. And then that brings me to the adjustment pulls on the actual straps themselves. And then here's where I'm kind of conflicted, because on the one hand, the bag uses aluminum hardware and my preferred seatbelt material throughout the bag. It's everything I've ever wanted in a bag, but on the other hand, they're not very smooth to adjust. It's a little bit better now than it was. I guess it broke in over time, but it's still not as buttery smooth as my North Face Active backpack, which I keep comparing it to because that bag just gets a lot of things right. And because of that bag is why I'm noticing these little problems in these other bags that I'm using. So I always have to pull this way too hard, and it ends up over cinching this, so it gets super tight. And then I have to do these little micro adjustments to loosen it up a bit until it feels right. And I have to do that every single time. It's the same deal with the load lifters. So I'm super conflicted. And maybe at this point, I'll stop pushing so hard for aluminum hardware if it means I can get a more pleasant experience using plastic instead. So I really don't know what's going on here. I feel like this should be better. The sternum strap took me a while to figure out, and then just saying that out loud sounds wrong already. It's not intuitive to adjust or to remove it. Flipping this, it feels like almost like I'm breaking it, but this is the only way I found to get these out, and it's still a complete pain in the ass. But at the very least, it's super secure. Once you have it in place, it's definitely not popping out. So finally, we come to this amazing leather. This luxurious leather that Alchemy expects me to drag all along the floor, bare concrete, mind you. So, why are they doing this to me? This entire time that I've been using this bag, I've had to put it down ever so tenderly to avoid abusing this fine material. And I don't want to have to do that. I don't want to think about it. This is kind of like wearing your shoes upside down. Like, you're not supposed to make the soles of your shoes out of fine Italian leather, man. Like, I don't understand this at all. It looks amazing and it feels amazing, but I don't ever want it to touch the floor anywhere. So, what are we doing here, Alchemy? Like, how did you want me to use this bag? Is what I'm asking. So I'm going to give this build an 8. I think that's plenty fair for some of the real quality of life issues and some very odd material placement. So yeah, there you have it. I really enjoyed using the bag. I don't regret spending my money on it. It's roomy enough to pack a variety of loads. Uh, and I got to mention this again. It has really smart pocket design. Not enough manufacturers are thinking this through. On some of the bags that I've used, you can't just put pockets everywhere. You have to give these room to actually put stuff in. I cannot stress that enough. Um, so yeah, that's it. Highly recommend the bag. You can check it out on their site. I'll have it in the description. Yeah, thanks for watching, and keep an eye out for my first impressions on the Axiom 24 from Triple Out Design. Maybe I'll have that up by next week. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time.